y'all, it's Betsy with Happily Ever After Etc. and welcome back to another reading journal video. So today we are going to be doing my March after the pen video, which means I will be opening my reading journal to my yearly tracker where I write down everything that I've read for the year. I have, my bingo boards and on my little trackers, my 26 to read in 26. And we're just going to be filling in those spreads for everything that I read in March. Sometimes I go all the way through and I get everything written down perfect. Sometimes I don't get everything at the very back done. Mainly it comes down to, do I have all my stats for the stat page ready to go, or do I have to look them up? If I have to look them up, I'll fill it in later. But we fill in everything else, including all of the books that I read for last month. And for March was my biggest month of the year so far because we went on a cruise, my mom and I did. And I took I don't remember, 14 books with me in a combination of regular books and Kindle books. So a lot of the book series that I have for that trip, my cruise TBR, was books that I had on my TBR for several weeks, several months since last year. They're on my Read It From Last Year TBR. So I have the first book in that series, and I looked up which of those books from last year's TBR had Kindle versions of the sequel or the third book for the whole series, and I brought just the first book. So I brought 4 books, but I read 14 because I read the first one physically, and then I read the second, third, or fourth book on my Kindle app. So that was a great way to get through a lot of books on my cruise without having to carry physically a lot of books on my cruise. But it means that I read a lot more in the month of March than I did for my first 2 months. I also got home and went a little crazy, as one does, because of this whole Buttercup. Sorry, y'all. One of my dogs is just crying in the other room. Buttercup, come here. I don't know where she is. Anyways, I'll have to go find her. On my cruise, it was announced that, of course, Sarah J. Maas's books 6 and 7 and eventually 8 are coming out for ACOTAR, the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I am late to the Masterverse. I've read ACOTAR, but I had not read anything else she has ever written. So I went on my Libby app and I requested to borrow the Throne of Glass series. I figured with everyone else and their mother doing that, it would take a while to get the books, so I better go request them. And then they came in very quickly. So I read Throne of Glass last month. All 8 books. That took a minute. It was not a quick read. It took me maybe a week and a half to read all of them. But I really liked them, and now I have to put them in the reading journal. So thank you for coming with me to my very long intro. Let's start writing things in the book. Buttercup, where are you? Is she in the closet, Bryce? Show me where she is. All right, y'all. Let's work on adding March's books to my yearly planner. And if you can't tell, I've done a lot in this reading journal in the last 3 months. So January, February, March. I've not started on April yet, but the whole first book is my yearly one. My second book here, of course, is my reading reviews, and that starts to be my monthlies. So March, and then we have the actual book reviews. So I typically break that up into a separate chapter. If you'd like to see those videos, they'll be below. Here's my guide for my pins so that I know what they look like. Otherwise, I end up swatching them 8 million times when working on my reading journal.
So as always, we start with the master list. And unfortunately, well, I prefer to work on it in the book. It's just a little difficult still in my brain. So let's take this out and work on it flat on the desk. Okay. Noise. Excellent. So, You, Me, and Forever and Love You Mean It are the last books I've added to this list. So, where is that? In March? Yes. So here's my spreadsheet for my TBR. This is what I've read. Everything from March starts here with lessons in baking. So here is where March starts. And I've already written quite a bit of them down. Need to figure out how to make my phone brightness stay on longer. So we will add all the rest of March here, and then the few that I've read in April. What do you mean? This summer I turned pretty. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dogs. They are literally playing with my cats under the door because the cats are in my bedroom and the dogs are in the hallway. And the cats like to stick their little paws out to play with the dogs under the door. The cats are still pretty new. I haven't had them long, and so I can't leave them unsupervised without me watching. They're doing better, but they're not quite there yet. That is everything I've read as of an hour ago, as I just finished Heavenly Bodies. So, let's see what's next. Oh, we get to color. Nice. Okay. This is what I need to do, is leave little notes as to what color I did. I think this is 149. Go lay down, Grace. I love you, but I'm not playing with you right now, unfortunately. Okay, Primrosa. And 28 books in March. So, 16, 17, 18, 28 brings us to 70 books. I don't think this is quite the same color. That's okay. I realized after I picked my pens that 2 sets of them are very similar. So close enough for government work. But I'm going to not do the ones for April. That way at the end of April, I can come back, do all of April together, and I won't have to guess which pen I was using or leave a note. I think that'll be better. Okay, now this is always my most intensive one. So let's see. What have I done and what do I need? Safe Haven. Worth the wait. What if it's too late? Okay. So we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors. So through this one, let's just go ahead and do this so we know. Where the end? Love it. And now we're gonna do this one. Oh, I actually liked that better than outlining. messed up the, but that's okay. Nobody noticed. I love how this is turning out. I don't love maybe that the colors I picked are a little brighter than like the muted pastels of most of my stickers, but I don't mind that they don't match perfect. They still go together, and I can always choose different colors next year. Okay, I read one of these. I can check it off. Oh, and I read 2 of these. All right, so I read Bodies. Oh, I've read 3 of them. I'm killing it. I may have to add some more to this list because I have a lot right now on my physical TBR. So typically when I receive books for my subscription services or boxes or things like that, like these are mostly Fairy Loot books, I give myself the month that they came to read them. If I don't do that, then they'll go on my physical TBR. And I have quite a few. They're kind of building up right now that even though I am reading them, I'm not reading them quickly enough. And I never want to read it so quickly that I don't enjoy it or know what's going on. So we'll see. All right, I don't know if I read any of these this month. No. I don't think I did. I did really good on this last month. No. But I kind of focused. I have all of these books in one section and all of these books in a different section. I clearly focused on these this month. So rereads, I can add Shield of Sparrows to this because I reread that one. First reread of the year prior to Rites of the Starling coming out. I don't have to reread a book before a new one comes out always, but if it's something like this where it's a lot heavy book in that year, then yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna mark some of these off because I've been wondering how many of these. What's the Wings That Bind? I think that's the 3rd book in the Red series with the dragons. I didn't realize that came out last month. I should read that. That needs to go on the TBR. Okay. I read this one. I wish I had a different symbol for read versus bought. Because some of these are things that I'm buying and then reading, and some of them, like Hard Feelings, came out on Kindle Unlimited, but I won't buy the book. This one, I'll probably not buy the book. I'm just gonna mark that I read it. Close enough for me. These are also reads, but not necessarily buys. Now this one I did buy and read. And this one I did buy and read. Nice. Okay. So this one I did buy, but I got it from Fairy Loot. And so it's gonna be a while. This one is a Kindle Unlimited one, so I think it's to the end of the month. Should be able to get that one. There's something else coming out on this list that I needed to add, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head, and it's not on this phone, so I have to add that. I am really excited for Bad Boy Era. Dogs. The Faraway Inn also came out this month, and I would have bought it, except it is the cozy book for Fairy Loot. Speaking of, I still haven't put this together, and I need to because I've been just having to remember. But like this one I bought from Fairy Loot. I don't have the first one in Fairy Loot, so that's why it's not on this tracker. All right, these I will get to at some point. I kind of just got to the point where I didn't quite know how I wanted them to look, so I stopped worrying about it. All right. So I'm gonna have to look. I've bought 3 of these now. I was only gonna buy the first one, but I loved them so much, I bought 3 of them. I'm gonna have to look and see. I'm assuming that I've bought the first 3, but I'm not positive. These, I have bought these 2. I have read all of them now, but I only bought 2. I got the rest on Libby. Queen of Shadows was weeks to wait on Libby, so I said, I'm just buying it. Okay, now I did have some things to go on here. Half City, was that? When the Sun and the Star Maker. So I believe that this is February and this is young adult. Now, March, didn't print off a picture yet. I will have to do that. But it is the most beautiful book I've ever seen. If you guys don't watch my I always call them unhauls. If you guys don't watch my book hauls, if you follow special edition books at all, you probably know. But The Wicked Sea for March, it might be my favorite Fairy Loot book they've ever done. I'm not sure, at least for looks, because even Crimson Moth and Heavenly Bodies, which are gorgeous, like this is just my vibe. I love her. I love you. I literally have her sitting right here. I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my Fairy Loot books that I just hauled that I want to keep front and center until I read them, so that I don't forget them. I do prioritize reading my Fairy Loot books because I spend a lot of money on them. They're my main books that I spend a lot of money on. And if I'm not reading them, and I'm not prioritizing them, then what am I spending money on them for? And yes, I read my special editions. All right. Wish list. I need to add books to this as well because I've bought quite a few pre-orders this last couple weeks. I own Throne of the Fallen. Oh, no. I do. I don't own the Fairy Loot version, and I would like to. This finally came in. That's nice. Nice, nice, nice. The new Fourth Wing book that's not book 4 that we don't know what it is. I did pre-order it. I don't know what it is yet. It's coming out in a couple months. You know. Priorities. Okay. Still have not got any of these. Ooh, we gotta do my list. Okay. Let's see what I have and what I have to look up. So, books I read. 28 books in March. I read 8,826 last month. 12,418 in March. I still have to count up hauled. Keep in mind, like I've said, I had a cruise in March where I had a whole week of reading. So that is extra reading. Okay. Six stars I had. 3. Honestly, I have to count 5 stars. That's okay. Physical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a lot of audios. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I started using my Libby app a lot this month. I used it, like I said, for almost the entire Throne of Glass series. All right, let's look at my TBR for March. I have really not been updating my TBR well, so I don't know what's going to be on it. I didn't do as good with my TBR this month. This is why I've got so many books to catch up on. So let's see. $19. And I've had That's a long TBR with 19. And I will say this section here that's all crossed off, this is my cruise TBR. So I did read almost all of those, but I didn't, byproduct-wise, read most of my Fairy Loot books from last month because I don't like to take them on my cruises. I don't mind reading them, but I don't want them to get messed up. All right. We have a little baby book to add to this one. If I can pick it up, it's so little. And if you can imagine what it is, just seeing all the books that I read. It's a little baby, teeny tiny, Throne of Glass. Oh, I thought I had an extra Divine Rivals and I put it aside. Nope. It is the next book in the bracket. I did print that off. That's exciting. Now the question is, will Throne of Glass beat Divine Rivals? Because I'm guessing I won't, whatever my best book for April is, won't beat Throne of Glass. But we'll see. I did read Heavenly Bodies this month, which I really liked, and Rites of the Starling. probably one of those is going to be top of that list. Need to print things out for here or take a look. I've got a lot of things printed out. Ooh, okay, I'm excited for this one. So this is my 26 to read in 26, and I have read a few more of these since last month. I have read Throne of Glass, which was like a 12-star rating. Being facetious, but also not. But I almost put 6 stars on here since I do have my rating system go through 6. But I just decided it didn't really fit that well. And 5 was good. Throne of Glass is definitely a 6-star reading for me. I haven't rated Heavenly Bodies yet. I haven't done my review. I literally just finished it before this book haul video. I think I'm gonna do 5 stars for that. It's not quite, I loved it. It wasn't quite 6 stars for me. That's not gonna matter quite as much. Like I said, for this page, it'll matter more for the actual review page, where I actually put whether it's 5 stars or 6. I did love it. And I'm wondering if I would have loved it more if I had read it in a different time. I've read so many books this month. I literally went right from Throne of Glass to Shield of Sparrows, Rights of the Starling, Bloodsinger. I read Throne of the Fallen in there. I did read a 4-book hockey series, which helped. But I need some more like brain palette cleanser books to read for a minute, which is another reason my Fairy Loot books are falling behind. I think my brain is just getting too much information at once and overwhelm. I do love fantasy books, but I don't really love reading them back to back. I usually like a fantasy and then a palette cleanser. But I've been reading the romantasy ones because I have so many. I want to get through them. I don't want to get through them just to get through them, though. All right, I did add some quotes last couple weeks. I typically don't do this on camera because they're all on the phone I'm filming with. And we could probably add some of these. Do we have an R? No, let's add Rights of the Starling here. And Throne of Glass. And yes, H for Heavenly Bodies. This one's coming along pretty well. Now I did decide, instead of doing my own bingo, I'm going to be doing a fantasy bingo that just started for April that I saw over on one of the gals on YouTube, her channels that she's doing. And I just thought that would be more fun than trying to come up with my own bingo. That's why I haven't filled this in yet. So I will go ahead and write that in later because again, I need my phone to do it. I don't know that I will succeed in doing a blackout of all the bingo, which was my goal if I'm using someone else's prompts. But I just think it could be more challenging and more fun because I'm like, what's the point of bingo if I'm writing down like, I don't know, dude with long hair, and then I just cross it in and say something. You know what I mean? This is for the end. And there we go. That is the end of the planner. So that is everything for March. I will need to look up some of those stats, but I am happy with it. I am happy with the way it's coming along. I need to look at this before I sit down to fill it in and actually like print out things for it so that I could, you know, I could have had the stickers for March. I have both the books literally on my desk. I clearly already own them and know what they look like and could have printed off pictures. I also have all this space where I'm not sure what I was going to do. I was thinking about whether I was going to put like a little review once I've read it, or whether I am going to put, you know, whether I thought it was 5 stars, 6 stars, 2 stars. I like to keep track of my Fairy Loot books, what they are, and once I've read them, how I like them, because I'm keeping track of whether my Fairy Loot subscription boxes are still worth it for me to buy or not. So far with last year, almost all of my romantasy books were 5 or 6 star reads for me, except for maybe 1 or 2, and those were like 4 star reads. So for me, you know, loving 10 out of 12 books, that's for sure worth it. But if I ever get to the point where I'm looking at this going, oh, I'm not loving these anymore, then do I need to pay for them? Or like with this one here, I might love this story. I am actually excited to read Half City. I don't love the design. So if it ever gets to the point where they're not doing designs I love, I can get the book somewhere else. So that's what I'm keeping track of, not necessarily anything else, but I like to keep track of what the books look like and how I like them so that I can keep track of, is it worth it for me to buy that book or not? I gotta get the best return on my investment, even if the best return is just me being happy. That's why I buy books, for happiness. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am going to be going literally directly into my March book review spread portion of my life. So if you want to see that video, I will try to link it down below. Bye.